Alright, I'm gonna start with some bad news, so brace yourself. If you're hoping that the next iPad Air, the one coming in spring 2026, would finally get an OLED display, well, it won't. Yeah, you heard me right, the iPad mini is actually getting OLED first. Which sounds backwards, doesn't it? The smaller, cheaper tablet gets the fancy screen before the Air? It's like a younger sibling getting a new car before you even pass your driving test. What on earth is Timothy doing? So here's what's happening. According to reports, Apple plans to give the iPad mini an OLED display as soon as 2026. Meanwhile, the iPad Air will stay in LCD for one more generation. That means the M5 iPad Air coming in 2027 is when OLED finally arrives. That'll make the M4 model the last of the LCD generation, the end of an era, so to speak. If you're a fan of LCD and don't fancy paying the inevitable OLED premium, the next year or so might be the best time to grab an Air at a discount. Now OLED is brilliant, deep blacks, incredible contrast, vibrant colours, but it's not coming cheap, guys. The iPad mini's price is rumoured to jump up to $599, and that gives us a pretty clear hint about where Apple's heading. Once the Air gets OLED in 2027, expect that to start at $699 for the 11-inch, and maybe $899 for the 13-inch. That's classic Apple logic, new display, new price tag. So yes, waiting might give you a better display, but your wallet will definitely feel it. Still, the situation's kind of funny when you think about it. The cheaper, less popular iPad mini is getting OLED first, while the iPad Air, the mainstream crowd-pleasing model, gets left behind in the dust. The only explanation that makes sense is production. Apple probably can't yet mass-produce OLED panels at the scale needed for the Air since it sells in much higher volume than the Mini, so the Mini becomes Apple's test subject. They can perfect manufacturing with smaller batches before rolling out to the Air where demand is going to be much higher. And even the OLED panels themselves won't be the same as what you'll find in the iPad Pro. The Pro uses a more advanced tandem stack OLED design, meaning they're brighter, more durable. The panels going into the Mini and later the Air are single stack OLEDs. They'll still look fantastic, but they just won't get as bright or are going to be as long lasting as the Pro versions. It's Apple dipping its toes in the OLED waters for mid-range iPads, not diving in head first. I would, by the way, still expect the Mini and then the Air to gain promotion with OLED. The iPhone 17 has promotion, so surely it's time the mid-range iPads catch up, but of course the M4 iPad Air, that's gonna be stuck in 60Hz land. Now to be fair, this wouldn't be the first time the iPad mini gets a perk before the Air. Remember the iPad mini 6? It launched with the A15 chipset while the Air was still running on the A14. And actually the Mini till this day has a flash on the back when the Air for some reason never adopted it, because iPad mini users are more serious photographers, I guess? But at least OLED we can actually expect to come down to the Air eventually. Well, not come down, actually, come up to the Air. So history's just repeating itself. The Mini steals the spotlight for a bit, and then the Air catches up later with a more refined version. Quick pause, if you've made this far and you're enjoying the breakdown, make sure to subscribe and tap the hype button. It really helps a small channel like mine reach more people, and honestly it's the best way to stay updated when Apple inevitably breaks our hearts yet again next year. Now the M4 iPad Air itself isn't bad, it's just not what many hope for. Inside it's going to feature Apple's M4 chipset built on a more efficient second generation 3nm process. That means improved ray tracing, dynamic caching and faster unified memory bandwidth. All the usual Apple buzzwords that sound exciting until you realize most people use their iPads for Netflix and note-taking. Still, the performance will improve, even if the average user won't notice a night and day difference. Battery life? Probably unchanged, about 10 hours of typical usage, which Apple somehow kept consistent for what almost feels like 2 decades. It's reliable if not groundbreaking, so you still have enough juice for streaming, drawing or leaving it on your desk for 3 days pretending you're working. One area that will improve meaningfully is connectivity though. The M4 Air will include Apple's new C1X modem, offering up to 50% faster 5G speeds. It will also pack Apple's M1 networking chipset, bring Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6 and Thread supports. So if you like to play Clash Royale on the go like the iPad kid you are, you will appreciate this. As for design, while Apple's clearly following the don't fix what isn't broken philosophy, the M4 Air will look identical to the M2 and the M3 models, which looked identical to the M1 and the A14 models. Wow, Apple sure loves to recycle. flat edges, same size, same layout, but we might get some new colours because let's face it, that's how Apple tricks us into feeling excited. I can already picture the conversations. Oh, I love the blue one. Oh no, actually, the green's quite nice as well. Oh my god, the silver, that's a classic colour. I'm just gonna have to buy all of them. Yeah, Timothy knows how to brainwash us. So what we're really looking at is another incremental upgrade. Not a bad thing, just safe. The M4 Air will keep the lineup consistent, give us a nice performance increase, faster connectivity, and maybe a new coat of paint. Meanwhile, the iPad mini gets all the buzz with OLED, which probably makes the Air feel like the dependable friend who always shows up but never makes a scene. Back to the pricing for a second because that's where things get interesting. Since the M4 Air will be LCD based, Apple's likely going to keep prices the same as the M3 models. But when OLED lands in 2027, expect the bump we talked about earlier, which means this might be the last time you can get an iPad Air at a relatively reasonable price. Plus, when the M4 launches, the M2 and M3 models will probably get solid discounts, making them an even better deal for anyone who doesn't care about having the latest chipset. So if you're looking for an iPad Air, you're at a crossroads. Either grab a discounted LCD model soon and save money, or wait for the shiny OLED version in 2027 and pay a premium. It's a classic Apple dilemma. Do you want it cheap or do you want it shiny? Still, despite all the OLED envy, the M4 Air isn't something to scoff at. It's as interesting as watching paint dry, but still, it's refined, efficient, and well balanced. I mean, there's a reason why the Air continues to be a bestseller, and it's because it just does iPad things very well. But right now, it just happens to exist in that awkward middle ground where it's not flashy enough to headline an event, but good enough to be the iPad most people should probably buy. I guess Apple's decision to hold off on OLED for the Air actually makes a bit of sense strategically, because by spacing out these upgrades, they ensure every model has its moment to shine. First the Pro, then the Mini, and finally the Air. It's a slow rollout that keeps the product lineup feeling fresh, even if the changes themselves are incremental. So yes, the iPad Mini will have its fun first, but the Air will catch up as it always does. And when it does, expect that 2027 M5 iPad Air with OLED to look stunning, probably with a thinner design, and cost a bit more than we'd like. Until then, the M4 Air remains a reliable, solid device with plenty of power and excellent connectivity, just wrapped in a slightly familiar packaging. To wrap things up, the M4 iPad Air might not turn heads, but it keeps the momentum going. It's the calm before the OLED storm, so if you want a better screen, wait for 2027, but if you want the better deal, grab an LCD iPad while you can. Either way, Apple gets your money. And before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give the hype button a tap. It helps way more than you think and ensures you won't miss the next time I unpack Apple's fascinating habits of giving the Mini all the fun first. Thanks for watching.